Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. I am Many Ninjas, although I also go by Mr. Hay. I'm actually recording this particular video from my new office/recording studio here on side. In case you've been wondering why I haven't been doing much of any video reports or any gaming-related videos, is because I've been turning in pretty much a vacated room from the previous occupant moving out into my new recording studio for the most part. And that involved getting rid of at least, give or take, 2 decades worth of old stuff, putting in the new stuff, new fresh coat of paint, and God knows how much cleaning. I completely lost track of that at that point. Anywho, in this case, taking a small little video snippet before I get back into full-fledged recording mode to make a small tweak to a Z2-inspired Vegetto animation. In this case, started by xHienx. He wanted to redo the idle stance, and actually had some pretty good bases set up there, but it was just pretty stiff there. Not much movement in the arms just yet. You could see him kind of flexing and unflexing his arm, but they were still just generally stiff. And aside from a little up and down movement in the legs, it was still fairly stiff for the most part. So in this case, since he already started off on the arms, it's okay. I figured it was probably a good idea to begin adjusting it in order to add just a little more moving back and forth in the arms to kind of emphasize the flexing that is going on there, which is what I'm doing right now. I just had to adjust one of the layer setups because I accidentally forgot to set all the transparency stuff ahead of time in this case. From where I originally picked up this animation from, the hand on one of the frames that was pretty much the most bent down frame and most inward wasn't really finished, it was just outlines at that point, so I had to finish redrawing or finish drawing the hand in the first place. And now here, in order to kind of emphasize the flex back and forth as the arm is unflexing actually, I'm pushing that artist's right hand forward in order to just kind of get it further away and just show the arm unflexing a bit more than what was originally there. But of course, when you have to adjust that, you have to adjust the angle of the gloves a bit, since it will be kind of folding a bit further out, and adjust the actual wrist as well to go along with that. Moving on to the backhand now. For the most part, the fist itself is actually very much fine. It's just a matter of if the front arm is moving a bit outward to indicate the flexing or the unflexing that's going on there. Realistically, you need to do something similar to the back arm, just to add a little motion there. In this case, it really probably could be done a little better than what I ended up actually doing, but I pretty much just moved the fist a bit further out and filled in the gap there in order to kind of fake the foreshadowing, or yeah, pretty much fake the foreshadowing that it's actually being unclenched there. Realistically, if I was wanted to adjust it entirely properly, I would have wanted to also add a little extra glove on the most compressed frame of there. But moving on from there, I started to adjust the actual legs so they would bend a bit more as they went along, which, as you can see just a moment ago, I just moved it so he would crouch a little lower during that one bit. Realizing that that one arm is just still a little too stiff, wanted to add a little more motion. Pretty much just alternate things a pixel or two along the way. And now that generally that works well enough for the time being, time to adjust the pants fold in order to match the extra crouching that is going on in that one frame. Yeah, with the extra crouching mostly being done by kind of moving the folds a bit down to go along with gravity, which will be a little more prominent on the actual end of the pants, where there'll be much more bounce to it. Although not so much though, because honestly, Vegetto here is not moving too much. In fact, that's probably the chief issue that had with originally starting the animation. Is just really static. I can understand there's a reason for that though. Is clearly it's kind of emphasized in most of the cases where they have Vegetto as a playable character in all the games. He doesn't necessarily need to move as much as anyone else, just kind of more static opposed, because he doesn't even need to really assume a fighting stance in most cases, and he literally played it up by having either standing with his arms on the side or his arms crossed for that matter, and just kind of a more casual stroll or walk, you know, when he does walk. But so I guess that's part of the reason xHienx kind of set it up that way, where it's just really minimal movement. And actually, now that was part of the reason behind Vegetto's original stance, which he had set up for the first concept, which was literally just him standing casually with his arms to the side, not even assuming a real pose. Now probably the last big thing that really needs to be done on this animation would be animating the hair so it at least has some movement on here. In this case, I really only got around to the bangs because I'm going to be entirely honest, while you will see me attempting to adjust the rest of the large mass of hair, animating any of the hair for any of the Super Saiyans, especially when it's this detailed, is a giant pain in the ass. There's no other way to put it. It is a terrible way, very inconvenient to do. You'll probably end up having to draw a large segment in order to get it to assume the right angles, or in the case of Broly, I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the other frame, for Broly sprites, I actually have the hair on its own layer just because it's that much of a pain in the ass to deal with. Unfortunately, since Vegetto here was started off, Jeff downloaded off pretty much off the internet in order to work from, I don't have him in layers, so pretty much I have to work with what I got and kind of copy and paste things over. What I was trying here was to see if I could get it to kind of bounce a little bit downward and possibly bounce a bit upward, but to be honest, at the end of it, I didn't like how the result actually looked, so except for the bangs, I actually scrapped the rest of the movement with what I'm animating here. So you're seeing something that kind of hit the cutting room floor in the end. Well, at this point, pretty much, due to accidentally turning the recorder off for a little bit there, I lost a little stuff in between, but at this point, this is effectively the finished animation minus a few changes that probably went on there. I think I actually went back to adjust the folds on the pants a bit more on the downward frames, and maybe did something to the arms. I can't remember exactly what I did in the meanwhile, but for the most part, this is what I actually put up as the final animation for this particular thing. In terms of what's going to be coming out next for me, you can probably expect, now that I'm in the new office officially here, some stuff for the Retro Ninja Gaming coming up in a very short bit, with the very first game that's going to be covered being the ROM hack Rockman 4 Infinity once and for all. I've been promised that thing for ages, and now that I'm officially in the new office and got everything set up, now's the time to do it. In terms of pixel art stuff on the Mr. A ends of things, you're going to be seeing more Project Suaveness stuff within the very near future, along with probably a little side of Broly and a few other small odds and ends along the way. And while I have the recording space here, there is definitely going to be a little more live action recording stuff that's going to be going on here, but the exact nature of some of that stuff I'm going to be leaving a little secret for now, and it'll just be kind of popping up within the next little bit there, although I imagine there'll be something coming up around May for a slightly larger version of that. At this point, I just want to thank everyone for watching, thank everyone who subscribed to the channel at this point, as well as the Twitter, which, by the way, it's Many Ninjas on Twitter. And once again, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.